80%. That is the number. 80% of adults over 60 are deficient in one vitamin. Not slightly low. Deficient. And most of them have no idea. Their doctors have never tested for it. Their blood work comes back and no one mentions it. They leave the office thinking everything is fine, but inside their bodies, something is quietly falling apart. Their bones are losing density every single month. Their immune system is operating at half capacity. Their muscles are weakening for no apparent reason. Their mood is darkening, and they blame it on getting old. And the entire time, the solution is free. It falls from the sky every single day, and they are not getting enough of it. That vitamin is vitamin D. But here is what most people do not understand. Vitamin D is not actually a vitamin. It is a hormone. And when your body does not have enough of it, every system starts to fail. Let me tell you about Walter. Walter is 71 years old, retired carpenter from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He built houses for 40 years. His hands built porches and staircases and roof frames in the snow and the heat and the rain. Walter was the kind of man who never sat down, never complained, never missed a day of work in 38 years. When Walter came to see me, he looked 10 years older than he was. He sat down slowly, gripping the armrests, and said, "Doctor, I feel like my body is turning against me. My back hurts every morning. My knees ache when I stand up. I fell twice last month, and I have never been a person who falls. I am tired all the time, but I cannot sleep. And the worst part is I do not feel like myself anymore. I used to be the person who fixed everything for everyone. Now I cannot even fix my own mood. I feel dark inside and I do not know why." Walter told me his regular doctor said it was arthritis and age, gave him pain medication and told him to take it easy. Walter looked at me and said, "I built houses in January in Michigan. I do not take it easy. Something else is going on." I asked Walter one question. "Has anyone ever checked your vitamin D level?" He said no, nobody ever checked it. I ran the test. Walter's 25-hydroxy-D level came back at 14 nanograms per milliliter. Normal is 30 to 50. Optimal is 40 to 60. Walter was at 14, severely deficient, and no one had ever looked. I am Dr. Margaret Hale, 28 years in integrative medicine and clinical nutrition, and what I am about to show you is the most underdiagnosed deficiency in the world. It is connected to cancer, to bone loss, to depression, to falls, to autoimmune disease, to muscle weakness, to chronic pain, and the solution costs less than 10 cents a day. Here is why 80% of adults over 60 are deficient. Your skin produces vitamin D when it is exposed to ultraviolet B radiation from the sun. This is your body's primary source. But after the age of 60, your skin's ability to produce vitamin D drops by more than 50%. The same amount of sun exposure that gave you plenty of vitamin D at age 30 gives you less than half at age 65. And that is if you are getting sun exposure at all. Most adults over 60 spend the majority of their time indoors. They drive instead of going outside on foot. They sit inside instead of working outside. And when they do go out, they wear sunscreen, which blocks 95% of the ultraviolet B radiation needed for vitamin D production. Add to this the fact that as you age, your kidneys become less efficient at converting vitamin D into its active form, and your intestines become less efficient at absorbing it from food. The result is a perfect storm of deficiency that builds year after year without any obvious symptoms until the damage is severe. Think of vitamin D like the conductor of an orchestra. Every musician in the orchestra is talented. The violins know their part. The brass section is powerful. The percussion is precise. But without the conductor, they do not know when to come in, when to hold back, when to play together. The music falls apart, not because the musicians are broken, but because nobody is directing them. That is what vitamin D does in your body. It conducts over 1,000 genes. It tells your immune cells when to attack and when to stand down. It tells your intestines how much calcium to absorb. It tells your bones when to build and when to stop breaking down. It tells your brain how much serotonin to produce. Without the conductor, every section of your body plays out of sync. And the result is disease. If someone you care about is over 60 and has never had their vitamin D level checked, send them this right now. Because what I am about to show you could change everything they think they know about why they feel the way they feel. Let me start with your bones. Everyone knows calcium is important for bone health. But here is what almost nobody understands. Without adequate vitamin D, your body cannot absorb calcium. It does not matter how much calcium you consume. If your vitamin D is low, you are absorbing only 10 to 15% of the calcium in your food. With adequate vitamin D, that number jumps to 30 to 40%. That is a 3 to 4 times difference. So what happens when calcium absorption drops? Your blood still needs calcium. Your heart needs it to beat. Your nerves need it to send signals. Your muscles need it to contract. These functions are non-negotiable. Your body will not let blood calcium drop, so it turns to the only large storage of calcium in your body, your bones. Your parathyroid glands release a hormone that activates cells called osteoclasts. Osteoclasts are demolition crews. They break down your bone tissue and release the calcium into your bloodstream. Your blood calcium stays normal, but your bones are being eaten from the inside, month after month, year after year. And because blood calcium levels look normal on your lab work, nobody catches it. Your doctor says your calcium is fine, but your bones are dissolving. This is how osteoporosis develops silently for decades. And this is why a fall at age 75 can break a hip that would have been unbreakable at age 50. The bone was being quietly stolen to keep your blood calcium from dropping. All because there was not enough vitamin D to absorb it from food in the first place. Now let me show you what vitamin D does to your immune system. Because this is where the cancer connection becomes undeniable. When a pathogen enters your body, your immune cells are the first responders. Macrophages, T cells, dendritic cells. These are your soldiers. But here is what most people do not know. These immune cells have vitamin D receptors on their surface. When vitamin D binds to these receptors, it activates a gene that produces a powerful antimicrobial peptide called cathelicidin. Cathelicidin punches holes in bacterial membranes and destroys them directly. It is your body's natural antibiotic. But it only gets produced when there is enough vitamin D to activate the gene. If your vitamin D level is below 20 nanograms per milliliter, your immune cells cannot produce cathelicidin effectively. You are living with a weapon system that has no ammunition. And it goes further. Vitamin D regulates the balance between your immune system's attack mode and its tolerance mode. Without enough vitamin D, your immune system loses the ability to distinguish between real threats and your own tissue. This is exactly how autoimmune diseases develop. The soldiers start shooting at the civilians. The very defense system that should protect you begins destroying you from within. I cannot sit across from every person who is watching their bones dissolve and their immune system malfunction, and their doctor not checking the one thing that connects it all. That is why I created the Cellular Reset. It is my complete guide to rebuilding every system in your body that is breaking down. Every protocol, every measurement, every timing detail. The link is in the pinned comment below this video. Now let me show you the evidence. Because this is not theory. This has been tested in the largest clinical trials ever conducted. The biggest randomized controlled trial on vitamin D is called the VITAL trial, published in the New England Journal of Medicine. 25,871 participants, men over 50, women over 55, including over 5,000 African Americans. Followed for 5.3 years. Half received 2,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily. Half received a placebo. Here is what they found. When researchers excluded the first 2 years of the study to account for the time it takes for vitamin D to affect cancer biology, the group taking vitamin D had a 25% reduction in cancer deaths. 25% fewer people died of cancer from a vitamin that costs pennies a day. And this was in a general population, not a selected high-risk group. An updated meta-analysis from the German Cancer Research Center, published in 2025, confirmed these findings across 14 randomized controlled trials. In populations that were deficient at baseline, the reduction in cancer mortality was 20%. The researchers stated clearly that the strongest benefit was seen in people who were deficient before they started supplementing. The very people who need it most benefit the most. A secondary analysis of the same vital trial looked at autoimmune disease. The group taking 2,000 international units of vitamin D daily had a 22% reduction in the incidence of autoimmune diseases over 5 years. Rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis. These conditions were significantly less likely to develop in the group taking vitamin D. This is not treatment. This is prevention. A cheap supplement keeping your immune system from attacking your own body. And then there is the brain. A meta-analysis published in 2024 examined 11 studies involving 21,561 older adults, specifically looking at depression. The results showed that vitamin D supplementation significantly reduced depressive symptoms compared to placebo. The mechanism is direct. Vitamin D activates the enzyme tryptophan hydroxylase 2, which produces serotonin in the brain. It increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essential for the growth and survival of neurons. Vitamin D receptors are found in the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the thalamus. These are the exact brain regions that regulate mood, memory, and emotional processing. When vitamin D is low, these regions are starved of the chemical signals they need to function properly. The darkness Walter described was not in his imagination. It was in his neurochemistry. If you are finding this kind of research valuable, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I release new evidence-based protocols every week, and the algorithm will not show my content to you unless you are subscribed. I do not want you to miss what is coming next. Now here is where I need to be completely direct with you. Most doctors are recommending the wrong dose. The standard recommendation for adults over 60 is 600 to 800 international units per day. This dose was established based on what is needed to prevent rickets, which is severe bone softening in children. It was never designed to optimize vitamin D for cancer prevention, immune function, brain health, or muscle strength in older adults. The clinical trials showing significant benefits used 2,000 international units per day. Some researchers argue that 4,000 international units per day is needed for truly deficient individuals to reach optimal levels within a reasonable time frame. The Endocrine Society's clinical practice guidelines recommend 1,500 to 2,000 international units per day to consistently raise blood levels above 30 nanograms per milliliter. 600 units will not get most deficient adults to an optimal level. This is why so many people say they tried vitamin D and it did not help. They were taking a dose designed for children. Here is the exact protocol. This is what I gave Walter, and this is what I recommend to every patient over 60 who is concerned about bone health, immune function, energy, mood, or cancer prevention. Step 1. Get tested. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test. This is the only accurate test. If your level is below 30 nanograms per milliliter, you are deficient. If it is below 20, you are severely deficient. Optimal is between 40 and 60. Do not guess. Get the number. Step 2. Supplement with vitamin D3, not D2. Vitamin D3, also called cholecalciferol, is the form your body produces naturally from sunlight, and it is significantly more effective at raising blood levels. Take 2,000 international units daily with a meal that contains fat. Vitamin D is fat-soluble, which means it needs dietary fat to be absorbed properly. Taking it on an empty stomach wastes most of it. Step 3. Add vitamin K2. This is the step most people miss, and it is critical. Vitamin D increases calcium absorption. Vitamin K2 directs that calcium into your bones and teeth, where it belongs, and keeps it out of your arteries, where it causes damage. Without K2, the increased calcium from vitamin D can deposit in your blood vessels and contribute to arterial calcification. Take 100 to 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form daily, alongside your vitamin D. Step 4. Get 15 minutes of midday sun on your arms and face without sunscreen 3 to 4 times per week when weather and skin type allow. This is your body's natural production pathway. 15 minutes of midday sun on fair skin produces approximately 10,000 to 20,000 international units of vitamin D. This is not a replacement for supplementation if you are deficient, but it is a powerful addition once your levels are stabilized. Step 5. Retest after 3 months. It takes approximately 8 to 12 weeks for supplementation to significantly change your blood levels. Retest at 3 months and adjust your dose to maintain a level between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. Once you reach optimal range, a maintenance dose of 1,000 to 2,000 units daily is usually sufficient to keep you there. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever had your vitamin D level tested? What was your number? And has anyone ever explained to you the connection between your vitamin D level and the bone pain, the fatigue, the dark moods, the frequent colds? Tell me your story because I read every single comment. And next week, I am going to address the most common questions about vitamin deficiency that I receive from this community. Now let me tell you the 3 mistakes that are keeping you deficient right now. Mistake number 1. Taking vitamin D without fat. I see this constantly in my practice. People take their vitamin D supplement first thing in the morning with water and nothing else. Vitamin D is fat-soluble. Without dietary fat present in your stomach, your intestines cannot absorb it efficiently. You are swallowing the capsule and eliminating most of it without ever absorbing the active compound. Always take it with a meal that contains fat. Eggs, avocado, olive oil, nuts, cheese, even a tablespoon of butter on your toast. The fat is the delivery vehicle that carries vitamin D into your bloodstream. Mistake number 2. Staying indoors all day. I understand that modern life keeps people inside, but your body was designed to produce vitamin D from sunlight. When you spend entire days without any sun exposure, you are shutting down your primary production pathway entirely. Even on cloudy days, even in winter, brief sun exposure contributes to your levels. A 15-minute stroll at midday with your forearms exposed is enough to make a meaningful difference. You do not need to sunbathe for hours. You need brief, consistent exposure multiple times per week. Mistake number 3. Trusting that your doctor is monitoring it. Most standard blood panels do not include vitamin D testing. Your doctor may check your cholesterol, your blood sugar, your kidney function, your liver enzymes, your thyroid. But vitamin D is rarely included unless you specifically ask for it. Do not assume it has been checked just because you had blood work done. Request it by name, 25-hydroxyvitamin D. If your doctor says it is unnecessary, find a doctor who understands that 80% of their elderly patients are likely deficient in a hormone that affects over 1,000 genes. Let me tell you what to expect when you start this protocol. In the first 2 to 4 weeks, most patients notice a subtle improvement in energy levels. The deep bone-tired fatigue begins to lift. Sleep quality improves slightly. The heaviness starts to ease. By week 4 to 8, the changes become more noticeable. Joint pain decreases. Mood brightens. Patients tell me they feel less dark. The fog in their thinking clears. They start doing small things they had stopped doing. By month 3, the transformation is measurable. Blood levels have risen to the optimal range. Bone density stabilization begins. Muscle strength improves. Fall risk decreases significantly, and the immune system is finally operating the way it was designed to. Let me tell you what happened with Walter, because his story is the reason I made this video. I started Walter on 4,000 international units of vitamin D, 3 daily, because his level was critically low at 14. I added 150 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. I told him to take both with his breakfast eggs every morning, and I told him to spend 15 minutes on his porch in the midday sun 3 to 4 days a week. After 6 weeks, Walter called my office and said something strange was happening. His knees still ached, but the deep bone pain that woke him up every single night had stopped. He slept through the night for the first time in months. After 12 weeks, I retested his vitamin D. It had risen from 14 to 47 nanograms per milliliter, right in the optimal zone. His mood had improved significantly. He told me the darkness was lifting. He said, "I did not realize how heavy it was until it started going away." His grip strength had improved. He had not fallen once since starting the protocol. His regular doctor noticed the change and asked what he was doing differently. 6 months later, Walter came to my office carrying a wooden birdhouse he had built. First thing he had made with his hands since retiring. His hands were steady enough. His back was strong enough. His mood was clear enough to sit in his workshop for 3 hours and create something. He set it on my desk and said, "This is for your garden, Doc. I built it last Saturday. 6 months ago, I could not have held the hammer for 10 minutes. If you know someone who has been told their bone pain is just arthritis, that their depression is just aging, that their fatigue is just what happens after 60, send them this. Because what I just showed you is not aging, it is a deficiency, and it is fixable for less than a dime a day. Everything I covered today, the calcium absorption mechanism, the immune system connection, the cancer mortality evidence, the depression research, the exact protocol, every step, every measurement, every timing detail, it is all inside the Cellular Reset, my complete guide to rebuilding every system in your body from the inside out. The link is in the pinned comment. And next week, I am going to show you the one kitchen ingredient that unclogs your arteries in 30 days. This compound dissolves the plaque that hardens your blood vessels and restores blood flow to your heart, your brain, and your legs. You probably have it in your kitchen right now, and you have been using it wrong your entire life. Walter still builds things, not houses anymore, birdhouses, planter boxes, a bookshelf for his granddaughter. Small things, but steady things. Things that require hands that do not shake and a back that does not give out, and a mind that is clear enough to measure twice and cut once. He sits on his porch every afternoon for his 15 minutes of sun. No phone, no distractions, just the man who spent 40 years building homes for other people, letting the light rebuild him. His conductor is back, and the orchestra is playing again. The choice is yours, and it costs less than a dime a day. I am Dr. Margaret Hale, and I will see you in the next video.